Hi, in this lecture we are going to discuss features and limitations of Python. So before going to start this video, just try to recall what we discussed in the previous video. In that video, we discussed basic terminology of the programming and introduction part of the Python. So as part of those, we learned what is program, what is programming language, what is Python, who developed it and when it was developed, why the name Python, and applications of the Python. If you didn't watch that, please watch that and continue the second video. So in this video, we are going to discuss features and limitations of the Python. So after completion of this video, you are able to give the answer for these questions. What is the official website for the Python? Is Python open source? What is dynamically typed? Do we use compiler in Python or interpreter or both? What is platform independent? What are NumPy, Pandas and Matplotlib? What are the limitations of Python? So let us start. First, start with features of the Python. Python has so many features, but important features only we are going to discuss here. First feature is simple and easy to learn. Python is easy to learn as compared to other programming languages. The reason is it has a straightforward syntax. Writing and understanding of the syntax is very easy, and this syntax is much similar to the English language. All the C-based programming languages generally terminated with the semicolon. Each and every statement in C or C++ Java probably terminated with semicolon. But in the Python, no need to use that to make it simple. And if you want to create any block in all C-based programming languages, we use braces or curly brackets. But here, even curly brackets also no need to use. Just you can give the space. Nothing but in other terms we use the word indentation. We use indentation to create the block in Python. If you take any predefined function names, those are very easy to remember, easy to understand. Let us take an example. Suppose I want to print sum of the two numbers using Python. This is the program. See this, number 1 assignment 10, number 2 assignment 20. I am storing the value 10 in the variable number 1, storing the value 20 in the variable number 2, and I want to print sum of those two numbers, number 1 plus number 2. Here my intention is to print sum of these two numbers. I am using the function print. So now you can observe, if you want to print something, you can use print function. So this is very similar to the English language. You can easily remember it, easily implement it. So this is one of the case why we are saying Python is very simple and easy to understand, easy to learn. The next feature is freeware and open source. Python is completely free. If you want to develop any Python application, you can download the Python from this official website. The official website name is python.org, and download the Python with free of cost. And it is open source also. Open source means what is the source code of the Python that is available to the public. And if you want to modify it, if you want to customize it as per your requirement, you can do that also. This is called open source. The source of the Python is completely open to the public. Next feature is it is a high level language. Generally programming languages are two types. First one is low level languages and the second one is high level languages. Low level languages uses machine code instructions to develop the programs. If you want to develop any program using low level languages, you need to write the code in the machine code, not human understandable code. Okay, machine can understand zeros and ones, but understanding zeros and ones combination to the humans is very difficult. These machine level language instructions directly interact with the CPU. The CPU easily can understand that because that is machine code only, zeros and ones. The CPU or processor can directly understand it. No need to translate that. And in the low level languages, we have two types again, machine language and assembly language. These two are belongs to the low level languages. Then second category, as we discussed, programming languages are two types, low level, high level. And low level again two types, machine level and assembly level. Coming to the high level languages is used English words to develop the programs. So here we are not using machine instructions directly. We are using English words. So developing the applications using high level is very easy because the human can understand English words rather than the combinations of the zeros and ones. Python is also one of the example of the high level languages. C++, PHP, Java, Python, all these are belongs to high level languages because we are using English words to develop these programs. The programs are pieces of code written in C or C++. Already we have some code which was developed by using C or C++. The developed C or C++ project or code you can integrate it with your Python code or Python project and you can execute it with help of the PVM, where PVM stands for Python Virtual Machine. PVM is responsible to execute the Python programs. This is the feature of extensible. The next one is embedded. Reverse to the previous. We have already a developed Python program. We have already developed Python programs. And you can insert those developed Python programs into other languages like C, C++, Java, .NET, etc. This feature is called embedded. The next feature is dynamically typed. This is very important feature of the Python. Python programming language is dynamically typed programming language. What does it mean is the data type means data type. The data type of the variables is decided at runtime. Not in advance, because this feature we don't need to specify the type of variable. So while we developing the code, the developer no need to mention the data type of a variable. Directly you can take the variable and assign the value. At the runtime, the data type of the variable will be decided based on the value you are assigning. See this? If you take C language, C, C++, Java, those are called statically typed programming languages. So to understand the dynamically typed nature, compare C with the Python. If you take C language, if you want to declare any variable, declaration of the data type is compulsory. If you are not declaring the data type, you will get an error. So if you want to store any floating constant value, you must declare a variable of float type only. You must declare that data type. You must write the data type before the variable name. But coming to the Python, take the variable and assign the value directly. You no need to specify the data type of that variable. What is the value you are assigning to that variable? Based on that, at runtime, the data type of that variable will be decided. This is called dynamically typed programming language. And see, I declared in the C language A as int type. After some statements, if you try to assigning a float value to the integer variable A, this becomes invalid. But coming to the Python, I stored a integer value into the variable A. If you want to store again floating value into the A, that is also be valid. At this statement, the variable A will be act as an integer object or integer variable. And at this statement, same variable can act as a floating object or floating variable. This is also valid. This nature is called dynamically typed. The type will be decided at runtime. And while developing the code, you need not to specify the data type of the variable. Next feature is interpreted language. A program code is called source code. What is the program we developed? Generally that is called source code. After writing a Python program, we should compile the source code using Python compiler. We have several stages in the execution of the Python. I will show you that in the next slide. And Python compiler translate the Python program into intermediate code called bytecode. Then the bytecode is executed by the PVM. Inside the PVM we have an interpreter. This is important part. Inside the PVM we have interpreter that converts the bytecode instructions into machine code. Then this machine code can be understandable by the processor and operating system can execute this. Then that program will produce the results. This is the actually execution procedure. See this. So this is our program. We must store our Python program with the extension of .py. In this example, x is a file name. x.py. X is a file name. This is called generally source code. Okay. What is the file we have created? What is the code we developed? That is called source code. Then we compile this source code with help of the Python compiler. This is the first step. After compiling this Python code or source code, another file will be created internally with the extension pyc, Python compiled file. After compilation, this file will be created. This file contains bytecode. So bytecode is not a machine code. Okay, bytecode is not purely machine code, and this is platform independent. Any machine can understand it. Okay. Then this bytecode with help of the PVM, Python virtual machine, this bytecode will be converted into the machine code. In the PVM we have an interpreter. Actually in the PVM we have interpreter. That interpreter converts this bytecode into machine code. And now this native code or machine code easily understandable by your computer. And with help of the processor and operating system, that code, that machine code will be executed. You will get the output. This is complete execution procedure of the Python program. So here for the execution purpose, we are using interpreter. So this is also one of the feature of the Python. That is the reason the people may call it as Python is an interpreter language, because we are using interpreter. Then platform independent. We discussed already the execution procedure in the previous slide. When a Python program is compiled using Python compiler, it generates bytecode, that is pyc file. The Python bytecode represent a fixed set of instructions, that run on all operating systems and all hardwares. In simple words, that can run on all type of the operating system and all types of the processors, where we have the special software component called PVM. This nature is called platform independent. So we developed a Python code that will be compiled and that generates bytecode. Actually this bytecode is platform independent. What does it mean? That bytecode can execute on any platform. Platform in the sense any operating system or any processor. This is the reason why we are called Python is platform independent. With this reason, we are calling Python is a platform independent programming language. Next, huge library and packages. In Python, huge libraries are available, or so many packages are available. With help of the packages, we can develop the programs within short time. No need to write the code. Already code is available. You can use it. The code is available in the forms of library and packages. Few of the important packages are NumPy, that is numerical Python. This is a package which is used to work with the arrays, single dimensional arrays or multi-dimensional arrays. Another popular package in Python is pandas. This is the package which is used in the analysis of the data and statistical things. And one more important package is matplotlib. So if you want to work with 2D graphs, generally we use matplotlib package. Now let us see the limitations of Python. First limitation is speed. As we discussed already, Python is an interpreter language. So the nature of the interpreter is that executes the code line by line. That is the reason it takes much time compared to the compiler. With this, the Python takes little bit more time than compared to the compiler languages like C, C++ or Java. Next limitation is mobile development. We can develop desktop applications and server platforms, web applications using the Python very well. If you want to develop any mobiles related applications, the Python is not very much sufficient, because what are the libraries required to implement mobile related applications? Those are not completely developed. Database access. Comparison to JDBC and ODBC, that is Java database connectivity and Open Database connectivity. It is found that the Python's database access layer is bit underdeveloped and primitive. You may not find sufficient number of the libraries which are used to connect databases. Memory consumption. So this is very important point. In Python, everything is treated as an object. What is an object is nothing but which has a physical existence. That will be covered clearly in the OPS concepts. And here important point is objects have lot of memory overhead. To store the objects, generally we use heap memory. So it is somewhat overhead. So it consumes more memory. This is the reason memory consumption of Python is high compared to the other languages. So this is about the limitations of the Python. Then check your knowledge, what we learned from this video. What is the official website for the Python? As we discussed already, www.python.org, the official website for the Python. You can download the software and you can download the official documents from this website. Is Python open source? Yes, we discussed already as a part of the feature of the Python. Python is open source and freeware also. Open source means the source code of the Python is available to the public. You can customize it as per your requirement also. What is dynamically typed? Dynamically typed means the data type of the variable will be decided at runtime. Python is a dynamically typed programming language, where C and C++, Java are called statical typed programming languages. Do we use compiler in Python? This is very important question. We have seen already the execution steps of the Python. First, we need to write the source code and that will be compiled. Bytecode will be generated. Within the PVM, we have the interpreter. That machine code will be executed line by line with help of the interpreter. So here the answer is we use compiler and interpreter also. Compiler is used to compile the code. The interpreter is used to execute that machine code line by line. What is platform independent? If you develop a program, that code should be executed on any operating system or any processors without any modification. We can say that that programming language is platform independent. So Python is platform independent because here we are not producing the results directly. Rather, we are developing an intermediate code. that is bytecode. That bytecode is actually platform independent. We can run that bytecode on any system where we have the PVM. What are NumPy, Pandas and Matplotlib? These are the packages. NumPy is used to work with the arrays. Pandas is used to work with the data analysis tasks. And Matplotlib is used to draw the 2D diagrams. What are the limitations of Python? As we discussed, speed, memory consumption, database access. These are the few limitations of the Python. So this is about our second video. Thank you.